This video was brought to you by Incogni. I discovered the real reason why Nintendo shut down Smash events. It involves commercial licensing, broadcasting rights, yours truly, and of course we can't forget the Smash community itself. While I have found some exclusive information regarding a scam that might spice this story up a little bit, I'm very late to the topic, meaning that it's already been covered in incredible depth by other people.
Nintendo had an accomplice, and in fact, the Nintendo sidekick may have actually been the greater villain in this story.
So I won't bore you guys with all the details, but let's go over a quick summary so everyone understands the gist of what's going on here. For the quick rundown, let's go to my partner in crime, thefranChise, who's already made a comprehensive breakdown of the entire situation.
Alright, so Smash World Tour claimed that Nintendo wouldn't let them operate without a commercial license, which begs the question, how easy is it for event organizers to obtain licenses? Obviously all the tournaments on the Panda Cup were licensed by Nintendo, but even non-Panda Cup events like Genesis, Shine, Riptide, and Low Tide City were able to obtain licenses in 2022. Even Generation Esports, a random org you've probably never even heard of, was able to partner with Nintendo for a middle school esports league in the following year. It's important to keep this in mind because it's not like Nintendo's licensing was some Panda exclusive thing. Shortly after announcing their partnership with Panda, Nintendo reached out to Smash World Tour to offer them a license agreement. So when Smash World Tour announced a year later that they couldn't secure the license, it seemed like Smash World Tour just fumbled the negotiations. But instead of elaborating on why their application was denied, Smash World Tour instead chose to shift the focus onto Panda Global, accusing them of undermining Smash World Tour's relationships with other TOs in the community. Even though Smash World Tour themselves would later clarify that Panda had little to no involvement in the situation, they still insisted on name-dropping them in their statements and demanding a response. Losing Smash World Tour was already bad enough, but it was compounded by hordes of harassment towards Panda Global and their employees as a result of the accusations, leading to the complete collapse of not just the Panda Cup, but the entire Panda Global organization. Panda tanked so hard that they were forced to lay off all non-essential staff and completely downsize their operations. I made a few videos last year covering the whole situation in detail, so if you want to learn more, you should definitely check them out after you finish this one. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Now back to the video.
Thanks, buddy. Knew I could count on you. Is Panda Global, or more specifically Dr. Allen, really the reason why the $250,000 finale by Smash World Tour was canceled? Their statements on the topic seemingly suggest that that is the case. Dr. Allen was allegedly using the fact that Smash World Tour would inevitably get shut down to negotiate them coming onto his circuit instead. There was also the issue of if Nintendo wasn't going to license out the Smash World Tour circuit, that obviously they wouldn't want Panda's circuit to be on the same event. Because why would Nintendo want an event that they haven't sanctioned to coincide with their partner and marketing? Doesn't really make sense. These are the two main issues that everyone had with Panda Global, which led to them getting shut down. Because number one is a licensing issue, and it's a little easier to explain, and I've kind of explained it in the past, I will be getting to this, but let's talk about the strong-arming part first, because this is the most personal allegation against Dr. Allen, and I find it the most interesting. I don't really know Dr. Allen personally, but thanks to online data brokers, I can find his phone number, place of work, home address, and extended family with one Google search. While that might be convenient for some, most people probably wouldn't want that readily available. But because of people finder websites buying up all your personal info, unless you actually submit a takedown request, it could be shared and spread without you ever knowing. And it could take years to remove all of it manually. Fortunately, there's a way you can do it without having to scour the deep corners of the internet yourself. With the help of today's sponsor, Incogni, they'll protect your data for you and make sure that when it goes down, it stays down. Data brokers will constantly collect your data and create new records to sell. But with Incogni, all you have to do is make an account and let Incogni submit removal requests on your behalf. By using their extensive list of existing data brokers and their automated system, your data will be locked up tighter than Nintendo's IP. And old Gary over here. Sorry, Gary. Data breaches don't just happen to companies like Insomniac, and with things like identity theft and marketing companies filling your emails and phone with scams, your own personal whitelist actually sounds pretty nice. So if you want to stay on top of your privacy, use code TECHNICALS at the link below and get 60% off an annual plan. I want to thank the Incogni team for making such a genuinely helpful product, and of course for sponsoring today's video. Now where were we? Oh yeah, Dr. Allen allegedly strong-arming TOs to get them to work with him. The primary citation for this is a negotiation between Beyond the Summit staff, which was a main broadcaster in Smash, and Dr. Allen, where Dr. Allen was allegedly trying to get them to release their broadcasting rights with these events for free so he could use them for the Panda Cup. That's what the people at Smash World Tour alleged in their first statement. First of all, that is a blatant lie. Most of the events refused to break their contracts with Beyond the Summit because they already had a hefty sponsorship with Papa John's lined up.
The day of reckoning will come.
So Panda approached Beyond the Summit directly to try to get the rights released. Beyond the initial negotiation, Dr. Allen also worked on a separate pitch to try to avoid intervening with their sponsorship with Papa John's and convince them to still come on board with his circuit. There was also a public leak of one of Panda Global's pitch decks which showed what they were offering to events. They were clearly offering a flat fee for broadcasting rights within a 30-day period after the event ended. So I don't know why they were accusing Panda Global of trying to negotiate those rights for free. Yeah, it's just not true. After that accusation, the Smash World Tour statement also said that the CEO of Panda warned that they would get Nintendo directly involved, putting broadcasting rights for all tournaments in jeopardy. Dr. Allen was concerned that there may be a legal issue that could escalate in the future regarding broadcasting rights and Nintendo. As it stands right now, Nintendo has done a massive change regarding their policy for tournaments. As an organization, you have to get a license from Nintendo to make any kind of significant money at your events. Considering the fact that every single tournament hasn't shut down and there isn't a Smash apocalypse going on, I don't know how getting the company who owns the IP for the game involved in the broadcasting rights of their own game would jeopardize all tournaments. The only way them getting involved in broadcasting could be an issue for tournaments is because the tournaments don't actually have a true legal ownership of broadcasting rights. Why would they? They didn't make the game, so I don't know how they could control the broadcasting of it, but right. There were some exaggerations on Dr. Allen's side, exaggerations on VGBC's side, and Beyond the Summit wasn't guilt-free either. Tensions were running high, and people have a very tenuous relationship with Nintendo. However, I'm not here to spend an hour picking out missed details and half-truths. Rather, I want to get to the bottom of why everything really fell apart. In order to do that, I first need you guys to understand a scam that's been operating in the Smash community for quite some time. After I was hosting a watch party with my viewers for one of their tournaments main stage, I was messaged by their official account stating that I was not permitted to do so unless I acquired a license. I wasn't sure if this was simply a formality or if there was any associated costs, so I reached out to a few top players and community members to understand what was really going on. Apparently, Beyond the Summit was charging individual creators anywhere from $1,000 to $1,300 for a license to host a watch party. I'm not even sure if that's per day, because according to one of the messages that they sent my source, they're talking about $1,000 for the final day of the event. Oh, is it only $500 for the day before? Thanks. Oh, wow. How generous.
Hey Anon, sorry to bother and be a bearer of bad news, but we have a pretty strict policy in place for our events. Sad face. If you'd like full streaming rights, you can pay for it and talk to our sales team.
Look, Beyond the Summit knows times are rough, but to stay consistent with the people that already paid, they'd only charge a humble $1,000 for the final day of an event. Of course, subject to change depending on your numbers. However, if you didn't pay, you'd only be allowed to listen to the tournament, can't promote anything, and have to put a timestamp up so people can sync the video from Beyond the Summit to the audio from your stream. How thoughtful. When was the last time you remember paying to react to a Nintendo Direct? Do you think that would significantly impact the hype if you had to make a down payment on a watch party? Now that doesn't sound very grassroots and anti-corporation fuck Nintendo, does it? But what about after the event, so you're not messing with their live stream? When you want to just make some fun, transformative content simply for the community to enjoy and look back on? Well, if it's according to Nintendo's policy, as long as it's creative and fair use, you can even monetize it using the standard approved methods such as Twitch, YouTube, etc. However, Beyond the Summit must know something we don't, because even if your content that utilizes their footage is transformative and fair use, their website states that you're still, for some reason, not allowed to monetize it. That makes their policy around content and streaming actually more restrictive and worse than Nintendo. Here's a little food for thought. How are they going to charge you over $1,000 for a streaming license to host a watch party when they themselves don't have exclusivity or commercial rights to the game that they're broadcasting and can only do so because it's also transformative and therefore technically allowed by Nintendo?
Now, I'm no CopyZilla.
But that sounds a lot like a scam to me. And if you refuse to buy into their scam, they'd message you and claim that you're not permitted to react to their public Twitch stream and demand you take it down. Monetizing their intellectual property through third-party licensing is explicitly prohibited and has been for years. Is that really going to put a dent in their event sponsored by Papa John's, Crypto, and Red Bull? Surely they're making enough with the product placement, banner ads, Twitch ads, and ad reads to not have to charge $1,000 per person. Ultimately, this content model is self-serving, allegedly outright illegal copyright infringement, and anti-fair use. And judging from Dr. Allen's statement about an escalating legal issue over broadcasts, I'm assuming this might be somehow related. I even spoke to the major tournament organizer Bobak, who has worked with Beyond the Summit in the past, and he had no idea that this was taking place. According to him, they never even did production for his tournaments, and he primarily just used their channel for streaming, with a contract to establish a revenue split. It also seems like Bobak has never charged anyone for these supposed licenses, and the only confirmation of this kind of activity occurring that I've personally received all points back to Beyond the Summit. Trust me, I looked into VGBC, and all they were really doing is having you fill out a form so they could use your Twitch analytics to probably negotiate a higher deal with sponsorships, and like basic cross-promotion stuff, linking to the stream, all of that, just nothing as egregious as a $1,000 license. When it comes to dealing with Nintendo, everyone's in the same boat and are at the mercy of their strict policies. However, some have decided to take advantage of their lack of intervention in Smash specifically to pose as an authority on broadcasting and limit the already struggling community from engaging with their content by using steep licensing fees and denying monetization of transformative content. A rule that is not even present on Nintendo, YouTube, or Twitch's websites. Then, when Nintendo decided to get involved in how they handled broadcasting rights, the co-owner and creative director considered this bullying and planned months in advance in their company chat to turn the entire community against Panda and Nintendo so they could replicate the backlash from EVO 2013 in order to force Nintendo to back down. But they wouldn't say anything publicly, that is, until VGBC brought up Dr. Allen in relation to them being denied for their commercial license with Nintendo and accused him of souring their relationship with other tournament organizers. Even though VGBC blatantly ignored Nintendo's guidelines, never got Nintendo's approval or a finalized proposal, and launched their global circuit anyways after only providing 2 months in advance for their commercial license application to be approved. Keep in mind, this is very important. It took Panda Global 3 years to get a license for just a North American circuit, and VGBC was attempting to go international with 38 events in 2 months. It's also worth noting that 6 days before the Nintendo rep reached out to them, after months of no communication, they posted a Google Doc to their company account that brought attention to my coverage of their complicit response to Nairo and his ban in the community. My coverage highlighted the lack of a functioning code of conduct and security. Literally no security. If you look over there, not a single guard or anyone posted up. And to this day, no one else has provided an actual explanation why Nintendo would cite health and safety violations and have just hand-waved it as corporate speak. Quick Smash update just to keep you guys in the loop with the previous story. Alpharad has went back and deleted all of his tweets in support of Nairo.
Ban Nairo.
He was one of only 4 people that Nairo graciously allowed to read his legal defense that supposedly exonerated him. If you don't know who Nairo is, he was banned, unbanned, so at this time you don't think you'd make a statement to ban Nairo or anything?
At this time I don't think I'm gonna make that statement, no.
And banned again for sexual misconduct with a minor.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Nevertheless, Beyond the Summit and VGBC were successful in shifting public opinion against Panda Global and Nintendo. VGBC even lied about the deals Panda was making and accused Dr. Allen of trying to get the broadcasting rights for free, which would conveniently corroborate Beyond the Summit's complaints about their negotiations. Regardless of the pitch deck showing this to be blatantly false, the popular opinion was already anti-Allen and anti-Panda.
This is the CEO of Panda, Allen, twirling his evil little mustache and his greed getting the best of him. He says, if you don't join us, we're going to get Big Daddy Nintendo, whom we're sucking the ass of, to shut you down. And that's exactly what's happened to the Smash World Tour.
So the collective boycott and targeted event ran by Ludwig, where he ran it on the same day as the finals for the Panda Cup, inevitably caused the cancellation of the $100,000 Nintendo partnered Panda Cup, and the firing of almost all their employees and sponsored players due to a lack of funds.
So the reason why we had to cancel it was because Ludwig decided to run his Scuffed World Tour on the same Sunday as our venue. That's really the final nail in the coffin that lost over 150 jobs. To raise money for the people who, outside of Nintendo, have done the most damage to the Smash community ever. Ludwig had probably no idea that he was doing that, but what world would a player choose to join a Panda Cup finale instead of a Ludwig event on the same day?
Yeah.
But at least Beyond the Summit and VGBC would fill the void created by this call-out, right? Well, in February of 2023, LD announced that Beyond the Summit would be letting all their employees go because of lack of finances. You can even go to their website, and on the first page, it shows a notice of dissolution of the company. Well, what about VGBC? They're still around, right? Well, technically yes, but at a much smaller capacity. You see, Gimmer lost his $250,000 finale, 2 other major events, and is currently only focused on streams and running their local series. So essentially, everyone lost on a gamble, Nintendo intervened with tournaments and broadcasting anyways, and now there is less money, infrastructure, and no real guarantee that Nintendo will ever fund events at the same capacity that Panda had previously offered.
Because that $2 million made from the sponsors, we had to give it all back. You know, that was we didn't earn that. That was inked. The deals were signed.
They had a sponsorship lined up with Panda Express, for God's sake. The organization Luminosity has more than done their part to help fill the hole left by Panda Global by creating their own rankings, sponsoring events, and players. But what happened to Panda was so much more than just losing an organization. It directly affected the relationship with Nintendo and many people's immediate income. The people charging over $1,000 to host a watch party and destroying companies on a whim are unsurprisingly the real culprits who are fucking over the Smash community. For once, I can guarantee you it wasn't Nintendo. They were helping Panda Global secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in sponsors. Now, who do we think that money was going to?
A lot of the tournaments we worked with brought a lot of money. And then I have to watch people say that I strong-armed tournaments or I threatened them.
It seems like he wanted to strong-arm himself to being the only official tournament, and all of the other ones he was trying to scare and intimidate and threaten with Shutdown.
Why would I threaten people to take my money? Did you get paid well?
Any Panda event I worked was one of the most well-paying gigs I ever had in Smash, my time in Smash.
Multiple TOs told me they were upset at how much I paid you.
Me specifically?
No, I mean, they also wanted to blacklist you, but I fought back.
Damn! Whoa!
For some, it's always been a dream to get support from Nintendo and make Smash as an esport a more viable and sustainable community. So how can organizers then, with a straight face, convince anyone that that's their goal when their plan is to tell Nintendo to go fuck themselves because one organizer ignored their guidelines and another wants completely unsupervised control of their broadcasting rights? That's because this wasn't a business or a community decision. This was VGBC's last-ditch effort after being denied to create enough hate for Nintendo that it would force them to approve their license. You can see it in their statements. They're still desperate to work with Nintendo, and Beyond the Summit, for obvious reasons, was more than happy to co-sign, because it could possibly result in another golden age of no Nintendo intervention, meaning that they could secure all the Papa John's, crypto, and Red Bull sponsors they wanted without all that pesky copyright infringement red tape getting in their way. However, they both severely overestimated the influence of Dr. Allen on Nintendo, and instead of reflecting on how their own negotiations went south, decided to incorporate a personal beef with Panda Global, which would almost certainly ensure that everyone involved would be blacklisted from ever working with Nintendo again. If you want to continue playing Smash in your garage and fighting non-stop legal battles with Nintendo, then by all means, keep trying to relive events from 10 years ago.
I'm running Coinbox. I'm gonna keep running it in January. I'm gonna keep running it in February and March and April. I will run it every fucking week until I receive word from them directly. I think the sacrifice that we're gonna have to make is to remove Melee Coinbox. Legally, I just don't see a way around it.
However, if you want to actually make money for once and grow as a community, then maybe stop trying to point fingers at the bad guy of the week and actually make decisions for the good of everyone and not just yourself. Great leaders are willing to sacrifice the numbers to save the people. Poor leaders sacrifice the people to save the numbers. Just hope that all those people you've sacrificed don't end up holding a grudge. And to the community, maybe choose your leaders a little more wisely. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more content. If you have any stories you'd like to see covered in the future, send me an email with all the details, and I'll see what I can do. If you really want to help with investigations like this, consider supporting the channel through the Patreon. Thanks to all of you in Incogni, I can continue making high-quality content just like this. Speaking of which, don't forget to click that link in the description because it really helps out the channel. Since I unfortunately know that there's always going to be more problems with this community, until next time.
But pretend for a moment that that future where Nintendo has to license every single aspect of the competitive scene was inevitable. Then through those charitable lenses, you can start to make sense of the actions Alan has taken. But I don't prescribe to that future. I don't believe that that is what is in store for us in the Smash community.
If you are a legal entity wishing to host a game tournament using Nintendo games, please submit an application for a license. And we're willing to work with Nintendo for such a license.